Hey everybody, welcome back once again. It is your girl Jasmine. So today we're going to kind of talk about what it's like having a good name versus what it's like having a bad name, and basically changing your life to have a better name for yourself. And for me, as you guys all know my story, because we've gone over my story many of the time, I was an out-of-control teenager who had a very bad name for myself. A lot of the bad name I had for myself is one, I was always going to be in and out of jail. I was never going to get my life together. I was always high, so I was, on drugs. And, the biggest one, though, for me was because I was very promiscuous, was that I was a slut or a whore or what back in the days called a smut bucket or a skank or, basically, the prostitute or something, she's selling her stuff. She's she's just nasty. She's loose, I've actually had a few conversations with my best friend because she's staying with me for a little bit, and about some of the things that I did back in the day, and it was very degrading, and I was very ashamed of the stuff that I once did because I didn't love myself or value myself the way that I should. I was very loose, and there's nothing like having a bad reputation. At the time, I didn't care that I had that reputation. I didn't care that I did those things to myself. I was hurt. I was damaged. I was broken, and I didn't care what people had to say about me because they didn't know anything about me. They didn't know about my life. They didn't know why I carried the pain that I carried, or who hurt me, or how it affected my life. And I had a bad name for myself. And there's nothing like, on the other note, there's nothing like having a good name, because eventually I turned my life around and I started making a better name for myself. I went off to college. Most of my college years, I was trying to live a celibate lifestyle. I can't say that I never didn't slip up, because I did. And but I always decided to get myself back on track and try to live a celibate lifestyle again, and try to get myself back together so that I could carry the good name that I wanted for myself, being the church girl, the one who served God, the one who loved God, the one who was going to do the right things to follow God, because her life was so a mess before she turned her life around, because I no longer wanted to have a bad name for myself. I wanted people to know my life for being being better than it once was. There I was the college girl, the church girl. I wanted to be the pastor's wife. Anything that carried a good name to it, I wanted to have. Not just a pastor's wife, not just a side girl, or the one you sleep with on the weekends, or the one that, you say that it's okay, that, if you love me, you'll sleep with my boys or my friends, or, the one who's going to go out there and, belittle herself just for a little attention. I wanted a better name for myself. So I started building a better name for myself. I started building a better name for myself, because that's something that I really wanted for my life. And the Bible says in Ecclesiastes 7, a good name is better than precious ointment in the day of death than the day of one's birth. And, I know it's true, because a good name is something that I always wanted for myself now, because I was tired of being the joke to everybody. I was tired of being made fun of. I was tired of not, like when people gossip and say bad things about you because of the actions that you're doing. And it's your fault because you're making those actions and you're doing those things. And, versus the person who is living right and doing what they have to do. And people are still going to talk about you when you're doing right and living right for your life, but at least they're talking about you in a better way, you know, or they're hating on you. But I'd rather have someone hating on my changes that I made versus me making bad decisions and them saying, oh wow, look at her, she's slutting, she's a slut, or she's a whore, or, you know, like, look how many men she's been with, or look what she's doing in her life, you know, she's never going to change, she's never going to get her life together, you know. I want a good name for myself, you know, and I know that it has taken me a while to actually build the name for myself that I actually have, like, you know, with building my ministry and, you know, like, getting sober, getting clean, you know, stopping my actions, turning my life around, you know. My name didn't, you know, it didn't just take overnight for my name to change because people were used to my actions and the things that I once did, you know. But I took the time to do what I needed to do to prove that I was a different person, that I deserved to have a better name than I once had, because I was the person who I was, you know, and I changed my name. You know, I changed my name, and we're going to kind of take a look at a woman who really needed to change her name because she was not a good mother, she was not a good wife, and what she needed to do was turn her life around to become a better wife and mother for her children, because and for her husband, because she wasn't doing the things that she needed to do, you know. And if you have a bad reputation, you know, there's always a point in time in your life where you can change your life and get your name changed from, you know, a thief, or you know, a slime ball, or, you know, some type of thug, or, you know, a jailbird, or, you know, and turn it into something that's, you know, even a slut, you know, turn it into something better than what, you know, everybody thinks you are. You know, you don't have to be what they say you are. You can change your life and get a better name for yourself. So we're going to look at that. Let's go to the first few questions and we'll carry on. All right, guys. Peace.
What is the name that you have for yourself now? What is the name or reputation that you wish you had for yourself?
All right, so of course we're going to look at Gomer in the Bible. Now, if you guys don't know who Gomer is found in the book of Hosea. Gomer was a prostitute, in which God had told Hosea originally to go marry a prostitute. And of course, a prostitute has a bad reputation. She's a loose woman. She's a woman who carries herself in a manner of conniving, manipulative. You know, prostitutes are manipulative. They're conniving. They want their money, and they, you know, will do anything that they need to make sure they get their money. They sleep around with a lot of men. They have a lot of men. And so here was this man, and he was a man of God at that. He was a man of God, and God told this man of God to go marry a prostitute, a woman with a really bad reputation. And here he was, he had a good reputation. Here he was, a man of God, going to marry a prostitute, so a good reputation, marrying someone who had a bad reputation. And so yeah, so basically, where is it? In Hosea chapter 1, it says, the word of the Lord that came unto Hosea the son of Beeri in the day of Uzziah, Jotham, Asa, and Hezekiah, king of Judah, in the days of Jeroboam the son of Josiah, king of Israel. The beginning of the word of the Lord by Hosea. And the Lord said to Hosea, go take you a wife of whoredom and children of whoredom, for the land hath committed great whoredom, departing from the Lord. So he went and he took Gomer with the daughter of Dilam, and conceived and bare him a son. So basically what happens is they get married and they end up having kids, and then, you know, basically what happens is Gomer goes out and she goes and she starts to prostitute. She goes and she sells her body, and she has a bad reputation. She has a bad reputation. And so basically Gomar gets a second chance because in chapter 3, verse 1 through 3, which we'll read, God tells Hosea to go take his wife Gomar back, and basically he's giving this woman who was a bad mother and a bad wife because she was sleeping around and she was not taking care of her kids the way she needed to, a second chance at being able to have a better reputation, to become a better mother, to become a better wife than what it was that she was. She was undeserving of it because, one, she was a bad mother in the beginning, and two, she was a bad wife in the beginning because she was not doing the things in which she was that she needed to do to love her husband or to love her family. And for me, I feel like this really hits home for me because I was very loose, I was very wild, and I prayed because I really wanted a family, that God would bless me with a family, but I didn't want to be a bad mom, and I didn't want to be a bad wife because I knew that I had been who I once was before, and I had a lot of trauma, I had a lot of abusive ways, I was very manipulative, and I wanted to be able to love and care for a husband and love and care for children who deserve a good mother and love a man who deserves a good wife, and I didn't want to be someone who destroyed my family. And so we look at people like Hosea. Sorry, it's sad because it hits so close to home for me because I know what it's like, because when I was younger and I was pregnant, I was told I would be a bad mom, and I prayed to God to fix me before I had children, fix me before I got married so that I could be a good mom, so I could be a good mom and a good wife, because I didn't want to be a bad mom or a bad wife. I wanted to be the type of woman that a man needs in her life, versus and when you're destroyed and you're strong and you've had a bad reputation, like at one point I remember I was dating this guy, and I was so afraid to meet his parents because I didn't want them to think badly of me because of who I once was. And so, I was scared so bad. I was scared because I was like, what if they think I'm like this horrible person, or because I had a bad name at one point in my life, and it's not like people don't know who I am or about my old lifestyle because it's out there online. People can look up my name and be like, oh, Jasmine, wow, she used to be this, or she used to be that, or she used to cut, or she used to do drugs, or she used to sell herself on the streets, or she used to run away or be locked up, because it's all public information, because I tell you guys about myself, I tell you about my story. But the one thing is I want a good name for myself. Excuse me, guys, that was really gross. I want a good name for myself, and I've been trying to make the efforts to change my life so that I wouldn't have the reputation of being a bad mother or a bad wife. And so we kind of look at Gomar. She has the same issue with her life. It says in chapter 3, then said the Lord unto me, go yet love a woman beloved of her friend, yet an adulteress, according to the love of the Lord, towards the children of Israel, who took other gods and loved flagging wines. And so I brought her to me for 15 pieces of silver, for a homer of barley, and a half a homer of barley. And I said unto her, thou shalt abide with me many days, and thou shalt not play the harlot any more, and thou shalt not be with another man, so I will also be for thee. So Gomar was a wife and a mother, but that didn't mean that she was a good wife or a good mother, because she was a bad mother. She was a prostitute. She did not take her wifely duty seriously, her mothering duty seriously. She would have rather played the harlot. She would have rather gone out and sleep with different men, but Gomar gets a second chance to become a better mother and a better wife at this point, at this time, at this moment, because her husband takes her back. And this is a big turning point for her life to, yesterday I talked about on my Facebook about how it's the turning point in your life, the turning point in your life where the turning point of a second chance, where, it's the place where you get the second chance. And this is where Gomar was at a place where she got the second chance because it was a turning point where she had a chance to, be like, okay, well, my husband's going to take me back, so I have an opportunity to become a better mother and a better wife. And, it all was her choice to decide, am I going to change my name for myself? Am I going to become a better mother? Am I going to become a better wife? Am I going to do the things in which I have to do to no longer play the harlot, take care of my kids, support my kids, raise my kids, love my husband, do the things in which it is that I need to do to have the life in which it is that God originally wanted for me, that I should originally have, before I started to live a wild, crazy, harlot type lifestyle, and I know it hits really close to home for me because I know that, for me, I'm actually, like I said, I'm waiting for God to restore my relationship, and for me, it would be like great, a turning point for my life because, would I be wanting to have this chance to turn around and accept what it was that God was offering me to be a good mom and a good wife, and not having this bad reputation, but having a second chance to become a good mother and a good wife and to do the things in which I had to do to have the life in which it is that God really wants for me, and when it comes to your life, you have to think about, okay, we're at the turning point of, okay, you do have a bad reputation. This area of your life is broken, damaged, or whatever it is, but now right now is the offer of the chance of which it is that you can change your life and have a better reputation, have better actions for your life so that you can change the direction in which your life is heading in. But it's all up to you to choose whether you want it or not, and then once you choose if you want it, then you act upon it when you see the doors opening. So I'm going to put up the next few questions and we're carrying on to the next part.
What do you have to give up to have a better reputation? Are you willing to make these changes?
All right, so we were kind of looking at Gomar, and one thing that Gomar was a hoe. She was a hoe. She was a prostitute. She was whatever you want to call her. She was just loose. Okay. So in order for Gomar to turn her life around and become a better wife and a mother, she had to learn how to be a better wife or mother, and that doesn't come overnight, especially when you're stuck in one place and you've been living life one way for a long time. Someone has to teach you how to live life in a different manner because your process, a way of thinking, is different than what it is that you need to learn. So it kind of takes time to teach you to be different than who you are. You have to learn different ways, have a different mind frame in order to, have this different reputation, because your reputation doesn't change if you don't change your actions. Your reputation change if you change your actions and become different than who it is that you originally are. And I know this for myself because I've changed my ways. I've changed my actions of being who it was that I used to be. I'm no longer that person. I live in a place in Fort Lauderdale. I have my friend here who's staying with me for a little bit, and even her, when she moved in, the first thing I said to her is, because I know her, like she doesn't bring guys around, but I told her, like, guys are not invited to my house. They're not welcome here. Because I have certain rules and standards for myself, because I want to keep a specific name for myself, because I want to be known as a woman of value, be known as this woman who loves herself, who cares for herself, who's no longer who she used to be. And so Gomar had to learn to be like a Proverbs 31 woman if she was going to be a better wife and to be a better mother, and God had me look up the word proverb. If you look up the word proverb, basically it is a general truth or a piece of advice. And so, if you look at Proverbs 31, it's basically telling you what type of woman, what type of a virtuous, what type of woman who is a better woman of what outside of what Gomer was. Gomer was a prostitute. She wasn't a good mother. She wasn't doing the things in which she needed to do for her family, for her husband. And so, the Proverbs 31 woman is, virtuous, and she's she cooks and she cleans and she takes care of her family and she loves them, and she wakes up early and she does what she has to do to provide the love in which it is for her family. And I know for me in my life, when God offered me a family for me in my life, there are certain things that I had to do. Like one time he had me babysitting a little girl because I wanted to make sure that I knew that I could be a good mother, because that's something that I really want for myself. I can't wait for the day that I have kids, I can't wait. Like, I love all the traveling I do, but I can't wait. It's exciting, it seems so, it's a piece of me, like a little me who I can teach and mold to be something so wonderful, and love and care and to nourish, and that's something that, I really desire as a person. And I know, oh, sorry, because it's like a rough lesson for me, because, it's something that I've been going on this journey for about a few years, trying to get myself together so that I can have this life, and turn myself around so that I could be a better person, so that I could change my name for myself, so that I could have a better reputation, so that I could be a good mom one day, and be the things that people said that I couldn't be because of the type of person who I was, and it's taken a while, because stuff like that doesn't come overnight, I remember there were days when God's been trying to fix me over the last few years so that I could, one day be a wife and a mother. And, I remember there were days where I used to sit there and cry and be like, God, I can't do this. How can I fix myself? I'm so broken. I'm so damaged. This area is not right in me. How can I be better in this area? I'm scared for this area and I'm scared for that area. And okay, well, I think this way and you're telling me to think that way. How do I stop thinking this way so that I can think that way? Points and times in my life where I was trying to fix myself because I was still cutting, but I don't want to have kids and then they have to deal with me having my depression and me cutting. That's not something that a child should have to deal with. So I need to get myself together in this area of my life, because I don't want my children to be affected by this. I want to be better for me. I want to be better for my kids. I want to be a better person, and I have to change my actions in order to become better. And so that's something that Gomer had to do for herself as well. And anytime that we're going to change and have a better reputation for ourselves, it's not going to be easy. We're going to have to change our actions. We're going to have to change our mind frame. We're going to have to change the things in which it is that we're doing, because they're not right. They're not giving us a good name for ourselves. It's going to be hard. Like, I'm not sitting here telling you guys it has not been easy how God has been molding me over the last 2-3 years, because I really begged God to be a good mom and a good wife one day to someone who's going to love me and appreciate me, but I wanted to become very good for them. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like in order to really love someone, you have to become good for them. I want to be good and healthy for my kids. I want to be good and healthy for myself. I want to be good and healthy for my husband. No, I'm not going to be perfect. No, I'm not going to have it all together, but at least I've made the progress to change so that I could be more of a better woman for what it is that I want to do, and so, Gomer, if she was going to have this life, what was it that Hosea said to her? Hosea had said to her, you will be for me and I will be for you only. So in that way, Gomar was so used to being with all these men and, sleeping around, that she wasn't used to just being for one man and one man only. And so she was going to have to get used to the change of just being for one man and loving one man and being around and being a good mother and doing those things versus running away and running with all these men and being manipulative and not doing the things in which she should do as a good mother and as a good wife. And, if you're going to make the changes, if you really want the second chance in which it is that you are looking for, that God wants to offer you, then you have to be willing to make the changes. You have to be willing to make the sacrifices, and even on the days that it hurts. It's not easy getting sober. It's not easy getting clean. It's not easy changing your mind frame. It's not easy, turning your whole life around so that you can become a better person. It takes, a lot of pain. I remember I used to yell at God, like, God, I'm so damaged. Like, my family, they damaged me and they didn't even care. And my whole relationship's falling apart because I'm so broken. What do I do? And I remember yelling and screaming because I'm like, I need to be fixed. Just fix me. I'm so broken. And it hurt me so much. It hurt me so much because I just wanted to be fixed. Because I wanted a family. I wanted a husband. I wanted a better reputation. I didn't want to have to live the rest of my life being known as the girl where no one would stay, or she'll never have a family, or she'll just be a single mother. I don't want that for my life. And when you don't want something for your life anymore, when you're tired, when you're fed up, and you just want a better name for yourself, you do whatever you have to do to make sure that you can have a better name for yourself, because it's embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing knowing, that people think that you're unlovable, that nobody wants to be with you, that you'll never keep a man, that you'll probably be a single mother and have to raise your kids alone. Like, it's embarrassing. And so you stay by yourself and you're scared to get in a relationship and you don't date because you don't want to be those things. But that that's the way your life is heading if God doesn't intervene, or someone doesn't intervene, or if changes aren't made. And it's hurtful. It's so hurtful. And so I've been making all the changes in which I need to make in my life to be able to be those things. And if that's something that you would want to do, to make those changes in your life, so you don't end up dead, or being known as the drug addict for the rest of your life, or my life is like, my mom is a single mom, my grandma was a single mom, my aunt's a single mom. My life basically screams out single mom. I don't want that, I don't want that for my life. And so I've been trying the best that I can in any way possible to make sure that that is not my life, to make whatever changes I need to make. And if you want to change in your life, then you need to do the same. You need to stop what you're doing and make the changes so that your life goes in a whole different direction. But it's up to you to make those choices that you want something different for yourself. So God wants to offer you that today. He wants to give you a second chance. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to come overnight, but he's willing to offer it to you if you're willing to take it. So just cry out to God. Tell him that you want change in your life, that you want something different for your life, and it doesn't have to be this way. God can turn you around and help you. He's been helping me for the last 3 years to try to change my life so one day that I can have a healthy family and a healthy home. Just like Gomar got a second chance, you can have a second chance too. Just like I got a second chance, you know, you can have a second chance too. Anything is possible with God. You just have to take it one day at a time, man. I'm telling you, it's not going to be easy, but God can do it. And I know, like, I cried this whole lesson, but this whole thing, like, it hits so close to home, you know, because what I'm going through, it's my life, you know, like, I had a bad name. I want a good name for myself. I want to know that I'm not going to be a single mother, and, you know, that I'll be a wife, and that someone will love me, and my kids will be like, look, you're a good mom, and you did what you had to do to make sure we're loved and cared for, and you were there. And that's what I want, you know, and those are my hopes and my dreams, you know, and, you know, I'm willing to do anything for it. You know, when you want something bad enough, you're willing to do anything to make sure that you achieve what it is that, you're wanting, you know, what you desire. But I love you guys so much. Until we meet again, God bless. Peace. I'll put up the last few questions.
How do you think that you will feel when you have become who it is that you set out to be after you change your life? How do you think your reputation will change?